Talk Ava. Learn English with confidence.
I had a small moment earlier today that stayed in my mind longer than I expected. It was simple, but something about it did not feel the same, even though the words were almost identical.
That's interesting. What happened?
I was at a cafe, and I needed something from the person working there. I said, "Could you bring me some water?" And it felt normal, nothing unusual.
That sounds natural.
Yes, but then a few minutes later, I heard someone else say, "Would you bring me some water?" And I noticed something change, but I could not explain it clearly.
The meaning is the same, but the feeling is not the same.
That is what I noticed. Both sentences were polite, both were clear, but one felt slightly different in tone.
It is interesting how small changes like that can stand out.
Yes, and I didn't think about it immediately. It was only later that I realized I remembered both sentences, not because of the meaning, but because of how they sounded.
So it stayed in your mind because it felt different, not because it was confusing.
Yes, and I started replaying it in my mind. Could you bring me some water? And would you bring me some water? The difference is small, but it's there.
When you say them again now, do they still feel different?
Yes, even now, the second one feels slightly distant, or maybe more careful. I'm not sure how to describe it yet.
That is interesting, because both are polite, but one feels a bit more measured.
Yes, and I started wondering if I always sound the way I think I do when I choose one instead of the other.
That question can change how you look at your own speech.
I think so, because I realized I usually choose these words without thinking. I focus on meaning, not on how it feels.
That's common. Most people focus on being correct, not on the subtle difference in tone.
Yes, and I thought I was doing everything correctly, but now I'm not sure if I'm always choosing the best option for the situation.
That moment at the cafe seems small, but it's making you notice something deeper.
Yes, and I didn't expect that. I thought it was just a simple request, but now it feels like there's something behind it that I haven't understood yet.
Did you notice anything else after that?
Yes. Later, I was talking to a friend and I said, "Could you check this for me?" And again, it felt normal.
And did you hear the other version again?
Yes. My friend replied to someone else and said, "Would you check this for me?" And again, I noticed the same difference. So now it is not just one situation, it is repeating.
Yes, and that made it more interesting. It's not random. There's something consistent about how these two forms feel.
But it is still difficult to explain clearly.
Yes, I can feel the difference, but I cannot describe it in a simple way.
That usually means there's a pattern, but it's not obvious yet.
Yes, and I started paying attention to more situations without trying too hard, just listening.
That's a good way to notice patterns naturally.
For example, someone said, "Could you open the window?" And it felt normal, like a simple request.
And when you imagine, "Would you open the window?" it feels slightly different again.
Yes, it feels more careful, maybe a bit more distant, but still polite.
That difference is subtle, but it keeps appearing.
Yes, and the more I noticed it, the more I realized I had never really thought about it before.
That's interesting, because these are very common words.
Yes, I use them all the time, but I never stopped to think about how they affect the tone of my sentences.
Sometimes the most common words carry the most hidden meaning.
That seems to be the case here. It's not about understanding the words, it's about understanding how they feel in real situations.
When you don't understand something like this, it can help to observe more before trying to explain it.
Yes, that's what I'm doing now. I'm not trying to define it yet. I just want to notice when it feels different.
And once you notice it enough times, the pattern may become clearer.
Yes, and I feel like I'm starting to see it, but it's still forming in my mind.
That's a good place to be. It means you're becoming aware of something you didn't notice before.
Yes, and now every time I hear could or would, I pay a little more attention.
That awareness is the first step towards understanding how your speech actually sounds to others.
I keep thinking about that difference, and I feel like the only way to understand it is to test how it sounds in different situations, not by explaining it, but by actually hearing it.
That makes sense, because sometimes you understand something better by feeling it instead of defining it.
Yes, so let's try a few simple situations and just listen to how each option feels.
That will make the difference clearer without turning it into a rule.
First one. Blank, you pass me that.
I would choose could. Could you pass me that? Sounds natural and comfortable.
When I say it like that, it feels easy, like I am asking without pressure.
Yes, and if you say, would you pass me that? It still works, but the feeling changes slightly.
It feels a bit more direct, like I am expecting the action more clearly.
That difference is small, but it affects how the request is heard.
Let's try another one. Blank, you like some tea.
I would choose would. Would you like some tea? Sounds more natural in this situation.
Yes, and when I try, could you like some tea, it does not sound right.
That shows that some sentences naturally connect with one form more than the other.
Yes, and I did not expect that. I thought both would work in most situations.
But now you're starting to see that the choice depends on how the sentence is used.
Let's try another one. Blank, you help me with this.
I would say, could you help me with this? Because it feels like a polite request.
And if I say, would you help me with this, it still works, but it feels slightly more intentional.
It sounds like you are asking in a more focused way.
Yes, and I notice that I choose one or the other depending on how I feel in that moment.
That is important. You're not just choosing a word, you're expressing a feeling.
Let's try one more. Blank, you mind if I open the window?
I would say, would you mind if I open the window? That sounds complete and natural.
Yes, and when I try, could you mind if I open the window, it does not feel right.
That shows that some expressions are fixed in the way people use them.
Yes, and now I'm noticing something. It's not about memorizing every case. It's about recognizing what fits naturally.
When you don't understand, you can think like this. Some combinations sound natural because they are used often in real conversations.
That helps because I don't need to analyze everything. I just need to listen and notice patterns.
Now that you've tried a few examples, what stands out to you?
I feel that could gives more space. It feels like I am asking but not pushing.
And what about would?
Would feels more shaped, like I am guiding the sentence toward a clear response.
That's a useful observation.
Yes, and it makes me think about something deeper. When I speak, I am not only choosing words, I'm choosing how I want to sound.
That connects to intention.
Yes, because when I say, could you help me, I feel like I'm leaving the decision more open.
And when you say, would you help me, it feels more directed.
Yes, and that difference is not about correctness. Both are correct.
It is about how the other person experiences your sentence.
Exactly. And I think that is what I missed before. I focused only on meaning.
But speaking is not only about meaning, it is also about tone.
Yes, and tone changes how the message is received.
Let's look at it in another way. When you use could, what are you really showing?
It feels like I am showing possibility, like the action is open, not fixed.
And when you use would,
It feels like I am showing intention, like I'm shaping the request more clearly.
that difference is subtle, but it affects how natural your speech sounds.
Yes, and I noticed that I did not think about this before. I just used whatever came first in my mind.
That is how most learners speak at first.
Yes, but now I feel like I'm starting to hear something more than just the words.
You're hearing the intention behind the words.
Yes, and that changes how I think while speaking.
Instead of asking, is this correct, you are asking, how does this sound?
Exactly, and that feels like a different way of using the language.
When you don't understand, it can help to ask yourself what kind of tone you want to create.
Yes, because now I see that the choice between could and would is not random.
It reflects how you see the situation.
Yes, and once I notice that, I start paying attention to how other people use these words.
That awareness will help you use them more naturally over time.
Yes, and now every time I hear could or would, I feel like I understand a little more about why it was chosen.
That is where real understanding starts to grow.
I think something just became clear in my mind, but it is not coming from a rule. It feels more like a shift in how I understand what I'm saying.
What changed?
Earlier, I was only hearing the difference. Now, I feel like I understand why that difference exists.
Try to describe it in your own words.
When I say could, it feels like I'm opening a door. I'm allowing the other person to decide freely.
That sounds like you are creating space.
Yes, and when I say would, it feels like I am stepping closer to a decision. The sentence feels more directed.
So could feels open, and would feels more shaped.
Yes, that is the best way I can describe it right now. It is not about being more polite or less polite, it's about how much direction I give in the sentence.
That is a useful realization, because now you are thinking in terms of intention, not just words.
Yes, and that changes how I choose between them. Before I would just pick one without thinking.
And now?
Now I feel like I'm choosing based on how I want the other person to receive my sentence.
That is where control begins.
Let me try something. If I say, could you stay for a few minutes? It feels like I'm asking without pressure.
And if you say, would you stay for a few minutes?
That feels more direct, like I'm guiding the situation toward a response.
Yes, the second one feels slightly more intentional.
I think that's it. Could leaves the situation open, and would moves it forward.
That difference is subtle, but once you notice it, it becomes very clear.
Yes, and now when I repeat those sentences, I feel the difference instead of trying to explain it.
That is the moment when something clicks. You're not memorizing it, you're experiencing it.
Yes, and it feels easier now. I don't need to think about correctness, I just need to think about how I want the sentence to sound.
That makes your speech more natural.
I want to see how this works in a normal situation without stopping to think too much.
That's a good way to test it.
Imagine I'm talking to someone and I say, could you take a look at this when you have time? It feels relaxed.
It sounds like you're giving them flexibility.
Yes, but if I say, would you take a look at this? It feels more immediate.
That version sounds like you expect attention sooner.
Yes, and I didn't think about that before. I thought both were just polite requests.
They are both polite, but they guide the situation differently.
That makes sense. Let me try another situation. I'm talking to a friend and I say, could we go somewhere quieter? It feels like a suggestion.
And if you say, would we go somewhere quieter?
That feels strange. It doesn't fit naturally.
That shows that not every structure works in every situation.
Yes, and now I'm starting to feel which one fits without thinking too much.
That's a sign that you're moving from thinking to sensing.
I think I understand something else now. When I speak, I'm not just choosing words, I'm shaping the interaction.
That's an important realization.
Yes, because now I can adjust how I sound depending on the situation.
That's how fluent speakers operate. Let me try a different moment. I am ordering something, and I say, could I have a coffee? It feels polite and open.
And if you say, would I have a coffee?
That does not sound right at all.
That shows that some expressions naturally connect with one form.
Yes, and I think that is where practice matters. The more I hear these patterns, the more natural they become.
You're not forcing it, you're recognizing it.
Yes, and now when I imagine different situations, I can feel which word fits better.
That is the key difference between memorizing and understanding.
Let me try one more. I'm talking to someone and I say, would you like to join us? It feels inviting.
And if you say, could you like to join us?
That sounds wrong. It doesn't fit the intention.
That shows that would often connects with offers or invitations.
Yes, and now I see that these patterns are not random. They're connected to how people naturally speak.
That awareness makes your choices easier.
Yes, because now I'm not guessing, I'm feeling the difference.
And once you feel it, it becomes part of how you speak.
I think this is the first time I feel comfortable choosing between could and would without confusion.
That is the moment when your understanding becomes practical.
Yes, and it feels different from learning rules. It feels like I'm using the language, not studying it.
That's where real progress happens.
The more I think about this, the more I realize that the real difficulty is not the words themselves. It's the small differences that we do not notice while speaking.
Those small differences often shape how your message is received.
Yes, and I think I've been making mistakes that I didn't even recognize as mistakes.
What kind of mistakes?
Not incorrect sentences, but sentences that do not match the situation perfectly. For example, using would when the situation is very relaxed.
That can make your speech sound slightly heavier than it needs to be.
Yes, like adding more structure than the moment requires.
That's not wrong, but it changes the feeling.
Exactly, and I also noticed the opposite. Sometimes I use could in a situation where I actually want to sound more direct.
That creates a mismatch between your intention and your tone.
Yes, and I think that's the key issue. It's not about choosing the correct word, it's about matching the word to the situation.
That is a more advanced level of awareness.
I also notice something else. Sometimes I try to sound more polite than necessary, and that makes my sentence feel unnatural.
That is what we can call over-politeness.
Yes, like adding distance when it is not needed. It can make the conversation feel less natural.
That happens when you focus too much on sounding correct instead of sounding natural.
Yes, and now I see that balance is important. Being polite is good, but it should fit the situation.
Another subtle point is intention. Two sentences can be correct, but they may carry different intentions.
Yes, and if my intention is not clear, the listener may interpret it differently.
That is why tone matters so much.
I think I understand something now. Speaking is not just about forming sentences. It is about choosing how those sentences feel to others.
That is a deeper level of communication.
Yes, and I realized that I used to ignore this part. I thought if the sentence was correct, it was enough.
But now you see that correctness is only one part.
Yes, and the other part is how natural and appropriate it sounds.
That awareness changes how you speak.
Let me try speaking naturally now, without thinking too much. If I say, "Could you send me that later?" it feels relaxed.
It matches a situation where there is no urgency.
And if I say, "Would you send me that?" it feels more direct.
That fits a situation where you want a clearer response.
Yes, and now I am not confused between them. I can feel which one fits.
That is a clear shift from earlier.